Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, it's my royal decree that we shall talk about Barbarian.
Clearly, you didn't use your royal decree to pick the game.
That's true. Stupid
That's
Magna
what you
Carta.
wanted?
Yeah. Aaron, Barbarian, do you know the root of the word barbarian, the etymology behind it? It actually comes from Roman times.
No, I don't know it, Bo. Educate me, my friend.
So to the highly educated and erudite Romans and Greeks, the people that that were from outside of their region, when they spoke, it sounded like they just said bar 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 bar. So they became known as the barbarians. That's a true fact.
That's wacky.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a
Well,
letdown,
it's kind of like
frankly.
how the tradition continues with the Pennsylvania Dutch here in the United States, who are in fact German. So
Oh, there you go. There you go. Now listen, when barbarians are a big deal back in the 80s, right? And
yeah,
the 90s to a certain degree.
I'd say
Like,
80s peak barbarian time.
I agree, but they blinkered. So, like, what movies or comic books or whatever, did you get in any of your A-Tours or your Conans or your Beastmasters, any of those boys?
I was the Thundar guy. I think he counts as a barbarian because
Yeah, he's
I think
Thundar the Barbarian. Good call.
I'd say that classifies him as one. A lot of your barbarians were of the more adult ages variety, so I wasn't able to watch them as a child. I'm a little bit curious about the Conan movie because it's supposed to have a lot of good practical effects in it, like a snake and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. But I
You're
never
talking
watched.
about the original, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right, right. But I've never seen Beastmaster. Um, would you call Highlander a barbarian?
Oh, God, no. No, no,
Oh,
no. Those are
okay.
Highlanders. That's a whole different thing right there. But
What constitutes your barbarian? What do you have to, is it a
shirtless,
outfit? Yep, yep.
shirtless, buff guy. Uh,
Loincloth.
a Dutch boy haircut is usually in order. You know what I mean? The loincloth, correct?
Mhm.
Although leather or like what do they call those? Like leather pants, but not like sexy leather, more like
Chaps.
skins. No,
Chaps.
no. Barbarian, see, you're getting into a whole that's a whole underground sort of barbarian there. We're not gonna talk about that. A big weapon.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the double super sword, and then sometimes they got the double-headed axe.
Now, I
You
remember
know,
you saying that no one ever is able to recover from a blow from the glaive when you were
that's
talking about
true.
it on the last episode of Atari Unlimited. Have there
Yeah.
ever been any barbarians that have wielded the glaive?
No, the glaive is not a barbarian weapon. Too refined for a
Hmm.
barbarian.
Okay.
Barbarians are generally dullards. You
Yeah.
know, they but
They
they're
shun
there's
magic.
you've played D&D, haven't you? Right?
Yeah. So they shun
Okay.
magic.
Do you
You
want
can't
the
give them
barbarian to like be the mouthpiece for your party?
no.
Hell no. Too
No.
dumb.
Yeah.
You know, this reminds me, if you were a D&D character, what class and race do you think you'd be?
Oh, I'd definitely be a halfling bard. I mean, no question
Okay.
about it.
Is it because of the music? Where do you get halfling?
Because, well, listen, except for height, I am a halfling. I love the
Yeah.
drink. I love a little pipe every once in a while.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I love a late breakfast, and I love 6 meals a day when I can get them.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I think in my mind, I would like to be like a half elf, like ranger, something like that, but I'm not. In my
Mm.
mind, that's what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm absolutely either dwarf or half orc. You know, I'm too dumb.
If you're half orc, does that presuppose that you're half human as well? Like, what's the other half?
Good question. I think human. I
Mm.
think it'd be because can you imagine, like you'd get some weird combos if like a hobbit hooked up with a orc.
Well, I
That's
think you get a
wrong.
weird combo if a human hooked up with an orc.
Well, you get half orcs. But people are used to them, you know.
That's
But
true. We do
I would,
live in the century of the fruit bat.
I'm not tough enough to be like a fighter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not religious enough to be a cleric.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be a half-orc rogue. I'm going to give myself that part.
What's the difference between a cleric and a paladin?
So clerics are like people
They're just
that
straight
are
up healers, right?
sort of like what you're studying to be, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's say you need a guy to kick a bunch of tail,
Mm-hmm.
but also be religious, like a crusader. That's when
Ah.
you call the paladin in.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I played a paladin once, but I had a bad guy in the campaign that kept screwing with her, and finally I got mad, cut his head off, and I lost all my paladin powers. I was just a lame old fighter after that. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I never could do lawful good. It's not in my nature.
You gotta play by the rules of the universe. I try and be lawful good whenever we role play, except for the captain. The captain wasn't lawful good.
If I looked at you, John Bodekar Saller, I would say you are lawful good, but on a rare occasion, you could be a lawful neutral.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, what do you think I am?
Oh, I'd say that you are chaotic good.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
I can live with that. That sounds good to me. You know what's not lawful or good? I think you know.
Barbarian.
Man, what an intro for Barbarian, man.
You know, I wonder if he cut his loincloth in half when he cut that chain. We'll never know.
I will say, for those that are listening on the radio, the little cutscene there, the Barbarian is hovering over this chain with a sword. Presumably, that's a chain of slavery boat. And because you know how Barbarians are, they hate that. And like, he really considers the cut a lot.
Yeah.
It looks, maybe this guy should be a chef or something. Maybe you picked the wrong line of words.
It's not unlike the kind of cuts I used to make when I was doing the EIDO. You know, you sort of, you don't assume the horse stance too often when you're doing those sorts of cuts, but you do, you know, consider the angle. You consider what's going down before you make your strike.
Yeah.
I feel like the Barbarian, you know, if only in game he could make such you know, skillful cuts.
I will say, how often in your martial art do you get 15 to 20 seconds to consider a sword strike in combat? That can't happen to him where you line it up like you're swinging an axe in a tree.
Well, it's mostly when you're doing test cutting. So like they'll put up like tatami, they'll roll up tatami mats and they'll soak them. And they use it to test the strength of the blade because a rolled up tatami mat is supposedly like the same consistency as a human. Yeah. And so whenever you're going to make your cut on that, you got plenty of time because of course the tatami is not going to attack you.
I just assume that the Barbarian is just not very good with a sword. He's more of a hacker as opposed to a guy that can do it, get anything done. So let's talk about it, Bode.
Okay, man, let's get into it.
Had you played this before this week?
No, I didn't even know it existed.
So I knew about this one. This one I'd played. This is Barbarian, the Psygnosis version, not the cool cut a sucker's head off version. By the way, I learned on Twitch, you can't say sucker when you give a description on your video. It's funny because I had freak in there too, but
freak's okay.
It was okay, but they would not let me put sucker.
How about sucker?
No, I didn't try that. I'll try next time. This was released, but this is a new. Lemon's updated their abilities. Their page looks a lot nicer. It's a lot snazzier. And one of the things they do now, which makes me sick, is when it says here released 1987, then it says 38 years ago. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Again, this is published by Psygnosis. We need to go into their repertoire. They've done it all. They've seen it all. You know, all the Shadow of the Beast, Awesomes, and everything in between. This was coded by David H. Lawson. He worked on a game called Deep Space and a game called Obliterator. If you've ever seen Obliterator, it's like the space version of Barbarian. So I have a feeling we're going to play Obliterator one of these days, and we'll be well prepared now. The graphics on this were done by a fellow named Garvin Corbett. Garvin, Garvan.
It's an odd name. Yeah, that's the first one for me.
He did work on Aqua Ventura. Barbarian 2, which we also played, Deep Space, Obliterator, Red Zone, and Styx. You know, you're my lady, Styx. And then, of course, the box art, Roger Dean, the Deanster,
Yeah.
who did 9 Psygnosis box games, including Baraticus. Oh man, Shadow of the Beast, Pteropods, and just while we're on the subject of cover art, the art on this was used. The piece of art was called Red Dragon 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it was later used on an album cover for Steve Howe, the old
Oh.
Dodgers catcher, who had apparently had an album
Well,
in '94.
do you know who Steve Howe actually is in this
I
case?
don't. I
He's
don't.
he's the guitarist for Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes
And
sense.
yeah, and of course, Roger Dean made Yes famous with his covers, or at least had a good deal to do with it. And so I'm not surprised that Steve continued to use him in his solo efforts.
I will say the album was called Not Necessarily Acoustic. And it says
Interesting.
here, according to Moby, on the back on the CD booklet, under the artwork credits, you can find the message, "Hello, Psygnosis." So clearly he knew. Somebody
He
knew where it was
knew.
from. Yeah. This worked on the OCS. Boy, this might surprise you. This got released for a bunch of systems. This surprised me. I will say I didn't know this. The Amiga, I believe it was the Amiga or the Atari ST were the lead systems, but you also had the C64, the Speccy, the CPC, DOS. By the way, this is the ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad, the DOS, the MSX, all released in '89 or '88 or '89. So you're well into the game here. And then someone thought to themselves, "Hey, this would be a great game for your iPhone." So in 2011, someone ported it over to Apple. So if you want to give us, I mean, I will say I can see what they were thinking. The original price on this bad boy, £24, 95p, and you'd be good to go. This has flavor text. Are you interested?
I'm ready. I'm ready for the flavor text.
This is now. I will say I looked in the manual for this. There's a tome written about this Barbarian, which I did not read, and then there's 2 pages of like instructions, and that's it. This is the flavor text. Can you become Hegor, the famous dragon-slaying, monster-mangling barbarian? Are you the warrior who could enter the fearful realms of the underground world of Durgan, a world terrorized by the evil Necron? Can you handle this adventure, the frenzied attacks, the hideous traps, the gruesome death-dealing monsters? Your quest to destroy the lair of the accursed Necron, your prize, the kingdom's crown, which you've already got, Boat.
Yeah.
Your task is awesome, it says. You must, I love that. You must live on your wits, conquer your innermost fears. Use every skill and weapon available to you. Hideous peril awaits. Can you survive?
Constantly bang into walls.
Yes, all these things. So that is your flavor text. That's a pretty good flavor text there, Boat.
You got me fired up.
Is that now? Do you like the game?
No.
Oh, so Boat. This game comes up with a animated barbarian, as we talked about, swinging a sword on a chain, and you hear lightning. There's no music in this entire game, by the way, and the whole game musicless. Boat. When this came up, what were your initial thoughts?
I thought, hey, this is going to be a game that I can control and I can have some sense of success with, because I could tell by the icons on the bottom of the screen and just kind of by fooling around with them on the first couple screens what they all did, and I was like, you know what, this is awkward, but it's going to be doable. It was not.
Okay.
It was not doable at all.
So you're telling me you went into this with like an open mind?
I did because I played Rogue on the Macintosh, and Rogue is another game that's famously keyboard driven, but they made it mouse driven in the Mac version. And I thought, hey, it wasn't perfect, but it was still doable. Maybe the point and click platforming action game will be doable. And the problem is, Aaron, is that this is just a horrible idea from the get-go. This game should have never been made, and I rarely say that about games.
That's a burial, King Boat. I will say this: I have a theory in why this game was made like this. We mentioned that Psygnosis had also they produced a game called Baraticus, which we played. and it was a game where you walked up and down platforms and stuff, and it was all mouse driven. It was uncontrollable disaster. I think it was from the remnants of what was Bandersnatch
Mm.
back in the day. And this is what they came up with. It was god awful, and uncontrollable. And so I thought to myself, this is like the next evolution of those controls. So this has better controls than that. I mean, for what it's worth. But I think what you get. So this is some games you just play the game, right? Some games, the controls are part of the game, right?
Yeah.
And in some games, the controls are like the entire game.
Right.
Okay, that's what this one is. So, what are the advantages of having your control system like this? Can you name them?
Well, this game, if you're trying to imagine what this game is like, imagine if you're playing Lemmings, but there's only one Lemming, and the Barbarian is the one Lemming, okay? And you're giving him certain powers to do everything. So, like, there's a button that turns him into a sword swinger. There's a button that turns him into a jumper. There's a button that turns him into a sword dropper. And so that works well in Lemmings when you've got a bunch of different creatures to take care of. But when it's just one guy, you question, because having direct control over a million creatures like in Lemmings, it's not feasible. But in a game like this where you only control one character, why you would choose to make the controls this way, where it's indirect control of your hero. I've never seen a game like this before. I mean, I've never played Obliterator, so I guess Obliterator's just like it, but it's so
exactly
odd.
like
It's
it, yeah.
so weird.
So I'll tell you why they did this. Here's my theory. Pretend this game had normal controls. Because if you look at the game, let's say we cropped out the controls at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
This would look like a platform adventure, like hack and slasher, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you watched this game being played, which I did, and I got actually pretty far in this. I was proud of myself. You could run through this entire game, like from beginning to end, in probably 7 minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, and so what they do in the game is, once you get to the very end of the map, you've got to come all the way back to the very beginning. Okay, so
Right.
what are
I
you
did
doing right there?
notice
You're
that.
you're doubling up
Mhm.
on your. So you've got double the game for half the worth. Okay, now if you put these controls in, you could take a 7-minute game and make it last a hell of a lot longer because of the stupid crap that you've done to the game. I mean, they could have made this game just control like a normal hack and slash game. It would have been no problem.
Mhm.
In fact, there are keyboard controls. They don't work like you would hope. There's even joystick controls, but all they do are basically shortcut their way to the buttons on the screen. Where the
Yeah.
mouse, I think, or the keyboard's the way to go in this. So just to kind of build on what Boat said, you're the barbarian. Your goal is to kill Necrom and go through this dungeon. The dungeon has different levels, staircases, ladders. At the bottom of the screen, you've got buttons, and the buttons allow you to pick what you have the barbarian do. Just to go over what the buttons are real quick, you got up, down, left, right, stop, jump, run, attack, defend, if you've got something to defend with, and flee, my personal favorite. Then you've got a second set of buttons: get, use, put down, and then you can also pick from weapons or a shield. All right, so these are the weapons. These are the various buttons you've got to use. For example, on the very first, this is me playing, by the way, Boat. So the very first level, you walk down this grass, and a weird-looking frog comes at you. Okay, so if you click on the sword button when he gets near you, eventually your guy will swing his sword. And it got me to thinking, Boat. You know what this reminds me of as well is Dragon's Lair. There's a lot of Dragon's Lair in this game.
Yeah.
Because you'll just be walking and just something will fall on you and kill you. You have there's no clue. At least in Dragon's Lair, stuff flashes. You know what I mean? This gives you nothing. So it's what that is. It's doing what I said. They're just chewing up more time. Hey, listen, let's put some crap here that's cheap. That'll make them take longer, and that's what they do. So all through the game, you just come across stuff that will try to kill you, and there's no warning or anything. Anyway, You've also got buttons to pick stuff up. Occasionally, you'll come across arrows. You'll come across a shield that you can pick up that you can use. There's a button that just stops you. So, for example, there's a section of the game where you come to like a long bridge, and the long bridge, when you get to it, if you just walk across that without any explanation or any warning, just the middle of it goes away and you die. Right? You probably saw that bridge boat.
I did.
And so, what do you got to do? Well, this is just to explain the controls. You've got to hit the run forward button, and then you've also got to hit the jump forward button. Like your guy will do like a front somersault, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're combining the buttons effectively.
Right.
That's the game, and then you'll come across various creatures in the game. I will say the art and stuff I think it's an attractive game. I think it looks nice.
Well, I'm of two minds. The static art looks fine.
Yeah.
But the frame rate in this game is atrocious. I mean, this is your Jazz Jackrabbit, Jill of the Jungle type, frame rate here. This is bad. Yeah, bad DOS game frame rate.
Yeah. I would agree. I'm glad you said that because you're right. It looks not. This is another one of those, like you see the box art, you're like, holy smokes, I gotta have that. That looks awesome. And then once you start firing, and by the way, increasing the speed of your computer, none of that how it's locked in this way, and so. And also you'll notice that, like, did you see that right there? If you're watching at home, it's like out of the blue, the ceiling falls on you with spikes. Like, and you've went under 100 different ceilings like that. So it's like it's a cheaper version of Dragon Slayer that gives you more control options, I guess, is basically the way I put it. And of course, not the character. What did you think about the Barbarian in this boat? I mean, he reminds me of the guy from Smash TV that goes like, good luck, you'll need it. It's like that guy's, he got the part of a barbarian in a movie.
Yeah, well, again, what is a barbarian? Is it, a barbarian is a dude that's not wearing a lot of clothes, that's got a huge weapon. It's not hard to concoct a barbarian. I mean,
yeah.
I have a real problem with games that do what you said. That the programmers know that there's not much to this game, and so they artificially inflate the difficulty and the length of the game by implementing a control scheme that makes no sense. And so even though the barbarian looks, I mean, listen, Lionheart would kill to have that barbarian sword. That sword has some length. It has some travel power, baby.
It has to, because of the way the controls are.
Right.
You have to have a lot of throw in that sword.
But the problem is that because whenever you push the swing the sword button, you don't always swing the sword the same way all the time.
Yeah.
It's very inconsistent. And so inconsistency is key when you're playing any kind of platformer, because you want your character to react the same way every single time they do something. That way you can plan and you can get better at the game other than just trial and error. And what this game is, it's a lot of trial, it's a lot of error, and it's just a lot of frustration, because a lot of times you think you know what to do. It will work one time, but then you try it again and it won't work.
This is one of those games. I'm going to tell you a story, all right? When I first saw this game, right, I was like, oh, man, Barbarian, Psygnosis, this is going to be the bomb, right? And then I loaded it up, and it's one of those games, and you have this happen every once in a while, where you play a game, and you're like, that can't be it. There's no way that can be it. That's impossible. They're not that stupid, are they? But they were, and it was it. And by it, I mean the stupid controls. And so I was like, I'm chuck that sucker to the curb, brother.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to ham and egg my Barbarian. I want to have control. So this week, here we are. We're back around. I remembered my previous feelings. I'm like, I never really even tried to get used to these idiotic controls. So my mindset this week was, I'm going to try to figure this thing out. And I have no doubt that given another couple days, I could beat this whole game. Because once you understand the controls and you've memorized all the idiocy, it's not that tough a game. Like I got on my third or fourth play, I was well in to the game. Now there's some dumbness. Sometimes it's hard to I don't know, get it where you need to be to kill something. Get where you need to be to pick something up. Sometimes the timing's off when something attacks you, and it takes too long for your sword strike to hit. There's always these sorts of kooky things that can happen. Maybe you walk off a ledge because your guy can take fall damage. Maybe just like that. But I mean, you can beat this game because it's not that tough. But do you want to beat it? I guess is the key. Do you care enough to spend the time to beat it? That's the big question I've got. And the answer to that question is if you're bored, I guess. So, I mean, I'm not going to endorse the game.
I think there are probably people out there that make it their life's quest to beat every Psygnosis game, because there are a lot of Psygnosis fanboys out there. And this game is beatable, like you said. I did not get nearly as far as you did, but I can tell just by what you say that you can master this. So if you're one of those people, if you're a Psygnosis lifer, this is probably going to be one that you want to check out and tick off the list pretty quick, especially before you get to Blood Money. Jeez. But
I was going to say, I want to meet this guy that can beat Baraticus and pteropods. Please, if you're what would you call him, a Psygnosis lifer?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. First of all, I salute you because you're the best player on Earth. And I want you to beat Baraticus with not cheating at all, or Shadow of the Beast 1. Show me, because, I mean, these are, like this game here, the Psygnosis Library, this is something you'd give to a kindergartner compared to those games. It's just you have to master the idiotic controls and memorize the levels. That's all there is to it. And it's not like there's not tons and tons of idiot traps, but there's enough that are stupid. The bad guys in this are cool and varied. You got weird death creatures and frogs and wolfmen and horned rhinoceros knights and like weird wizards and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different guys. So, I mean, they put some time in the artwork, And and you're right, it runs like molasses. But I mean, when your guy does stuff, it looks pretty cool,
Well,
I will say your guy looks like, I mean, he's not what I would consider particularly stacked barbarian. He's wiry, I guess.
Yeah, he's wiry, but he doesn't look bad. He doesn't look weak. On the Amiga platformer the totem, he's near the top.
Well, there was you remember Hulk Hogan, right?
I do
Big,
remember.
huge, buff, statuesque, blonde, right? There was this guy in WCW called Randy Hogan. He was like half of Hulk Hogan. He was like had same haircut, same clothes. This is what this guy reminds me of. He's not Conan. What was this guy's stupid name?
He's Conan.
He's Heger. Hegor is a crappy barbarian name. You got Ator. That's not the best,
No.
But Hegor, not so good. Funnily, Hegor got replaced by a Shegor next game because they kicked this sucker to the curb and brought in the Lady Barbarian for that one, and they changed the way it controls. But one of these days, I'm sure we'll go down that road. But just to sum it up, I mean, this is not a game that requires a whole lot of analysis. I mean, once you understand the controls, like I read them earlier, you can just run through the game. I will say the flee button is particularly funny. I don't know if you ever used that one. He runs away like a geek. I mean, throws his sword down and runs.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny. But picking stuff up and dropping stuff sort of a pain. But these sorts of games, that always is a problem.
Yeah, with all the Disney games, it's the same sort of thing.
But just in my opinion, basically what you've got here is like, I'm going to be generous and say a half a game. But really, you've got like a quarter of a game because you run through the entire level twice. So to me, that's this game's. I don't mind the controls that much because as long as it plays fair, I'm okay. But having so little to do is weak.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you watch the very ending of this game? The cut.
The ending is horrible. It's horrible.
But you do get the barbarian standing over surveying his conquested land of crap.
Right. I mean, the land that he bests is a field of lava with a volcano spewing forth. I mean, yeah, way to go, barbarian. Go rule over that.
Well, I guess all the good land was taken by real men. This is all this guy got left. So I did a little digging on this boat. And I found this written a couple of different places, including Moby. So and have you ever? I'm sure you've never played this on any of the machines. On the PC version of this game, the sound on it's god awful. Because they had some sort of problem, and so it's real funny to hear it. It sounds like somebody's like kicking the little speaker in your PC. It's got speaker sound in it. I looked on eBay to see what this is going for, and originally, as I mentioned, this was £25. You're gonna be paying 50 to 92 pounds on this one. If you get the budget, I saw it going for 40 CIB. Did we get any Discord action on this?
Yeah, we got a couple reviews.
All right.
Let me pull them up real quick. Our first one comes from Joe Aquat, who is he always rolls the dice to determine the length of his reviews.
Man. Yeah.
And he says, maybe I'm getting too old and impatient, or too many years have gone by since I played games on an Amiga. But once the Barbarian broke the chain with his sword in the intro, he opened up a world of crap that I couldn't be part of. 2% is my highest completion level of this game. Why? Because it appears to be an arcade action platformer with point-and-click mouse controls. One of these controls was to drop your sword, and I couldn't get it back. Why let me drop my sword? Why such a long acrobatic jump? Why is this Psygnosis game so bad? And I'm just not having it. Apparently, there's a Barbarian 2 which abandoned this asinine control method with something, normal and expected, a joystick. Graphics, doesn't matter. Sound, doesn't matter. Gameplay, junky and dumb. Overall, good night. So...
That's a burial from Joe there. Good Lord.
Yeah. And Pajako writes, this is a review from his memory. A definition of stupidity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result each time. In which case, I'm stupid for playing this game more than once. I don't know why, but I kept loading this up thinking that this would be the time I would get it and love it. But no, it sucked every time. Visually, it's very nice with lots of scenery and well-drawn sprites. After all, it's a Psygnosis game, but the gameplay is really lacking. I'm not just talking about the awful mouse control system, but just one screen of baddie ad nauseum. The mouse control system is, however, the game's biggest issue. There are a lot of moments here where Twitch responses were required and mouse control with buttons do not allow for that. Overall, an interesting experiment that doesn't hit the mark. 4 out of 10. Those are our Discord reviews, Aaron.
I will say, before I get into the magazine reviews, I actually didn't hate this. I hated the lack of game, but I would give this like a C. All right, Lemon gave this a 5.28. And again, please check out Lemon. They've just revamped. It's quite nice. Our buddies over Hall of Light gave this a 73 lore score, 73%. The magazines were fairly kind. Acar gave this a 91. Amiga Joker, 75. CV&G gave this 35 out of 40. CU Amiga, 6 out of 10. Daughter Magazine gave it 3.5 out of 5. Info gave it 4 out of 5. It's funny to see how these old magazines are getting in on the fun here. And the Games Machine gave this 87, and Zap gave it 88. Average magazine rating based on 8 magazine reviews, 80% vote.
80%. That's crazy. We live in a weird world.
Well, listen, we're Barbarians you don't see them around much anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in the 80s ended. I can't remember the last time I saw a Barbarian movie. I saw that Conan remake, which was a disaster. But part of me longs for the days where you could just pick up a sword and change stuff yourself. Break the chains. Those days are over, unfortunately. And also, we found out that steroids were real bad for you. That probably didn't help either.
No.
Are you a sketchy tech? Do you have the right tools for the job? Have there been incidents? Next time, don't try to fix it yourself. Send your broken Amiga to Retro Rewind. Get a full diagnostic, a reasonable estimate, and the peace of mind knowing that your machine is in the hands of real technicians with decades of experience and cutting-edge repair equipment. Save 10% off your repair with the promo code Amigos10. Thank you to RetroRewind.ca for supporting this episode.
First news story.
I got it.
You know, Aaron, what the Amiga needs are more Dizzy clones. At
Yeah.
least that's what Camden Town Games thinks. Dylan the Spaceman is a Dizzy clone demo for the Amiga 600 or 1200 that is currently under development. We want to thank Indie Retro News for this coverage.
Yes.
You know, the thing is, what is a Dizzy game? A Dizzy game is a game where you walk around an environment and you have a really awkward jump. You pick up items and you use those items to unlock the mysteries of the universe. So it says, here's the latest about the creation of Dylan the Spaceman. He says that the game stopped development due to lack of free time and a bit of creative block. So he says, I'm unlikely to finish the game. So maybe somebody's going to pick up the mantle here. But if you just want to check out this demo with little to no hope that this game will be complete, you can check it out at the source. The source is
pretty good.
Yeah, CamdenTownGames.itch.io. It does look good. You never know. Maybe if he gets enough comments on the itch page, he'll finish it up.
Can you imagine if we had programming skills?
No,
I mean, I wish we did. I mean, maybe with AI, we could get AI to make us crap, you know?
Oh, it would be crap, all right. Yeah.
Well, I know.
And we got one more news story here, and it's a slow news week here in the Amiga world. If you are if you run, this is called QEMU, and this is something that I've used before on Windows to emulate PowerPC era Macintoshes. You can use, there's a new front end for launching OS4 and Morphos and AROS. So if you are a QEMU user on Windows or Linux, if you use a Raspberry Pi and you want to get in there, you don't have a G4 Mac, you can use this new front end. Just check out the story at amiganews.de. Aaron, are you ever going to use Amiga OS4?
Maybe. You know, listen, somebody just popped in the chat, and they said they've got AI good enough to write code of their own ideas. See, so it is possible.
Okay.
Maybe I'll write some Amiga OS4 games.
Yeah,
if someone will buy me one of those awesome Amigas to have it here. If somebody dropped 5 or 6 G's on me, because I ain't spending it. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
But otherwise, no. But I would write them for the old machine. That's where the money's at, man. The older, the better. Write something. You've got that Amiga 1000 at the house there. You need to write something that will run on that natively without any of the extra bonus stuff that you got stuck to it. Hey, I want to mention this week that coming out of hiding, coming out of hibernation, escaping, whatever it is, I did see that Doug from 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast is alive. He posted something on his Twitter this week. I think it was on his Blue Sky, actually. It said he's working on a video.
Oh, great.
He's planning on making a comeback. He's ready to rock and roll. So that'll be nice to have Doug back in the fold. Because we miss old 10 Mark. He's a good guy. But hopefully he'll be back in here sooner than later. But yeah, slow news week. There really just wasn't a whole lot going on in the Amiga world that I saw. People are still abuzz about the A1200. And hopefully, I'm waiting for a complete games list so we can chat about it. Remember when a few years back, there was that PC emulation thing that was coming out, and we did that video picking the games we would have put on it. Maybe we should. I think we even did that for the Amiga Mini. Maybe we should do that. We should pick out the games we think they could get. That might be fun.
I think that would be cool. Yeah, we should try that.
Something down the line. That's all we got, Boater, on that.
All right. What do we got coming up next week on the show?
Next week's a special week, isn't it, Bode?
Yeah, it is.
Tell the people why it's special.
It's Amigo's choice. We chose this game. So we are going to be playing Jumpman Jr. So we're going from possibly the worst controlling platformer on the Amiga to one of the best.
I did try this out, so I didn't know this existed. I was gobsmacked when I was looking for something. I was like, holy smokes. And so I said, hey, Boat, we should play this sometime. And lo, it came to pass. we're getting a little Jumpman Jr. in on the Amiga.
Yeah.
I will say, the PC has a game called Jumpman Lives, which is sort of an amalgamation of all the Jumpman. So I've been playing some Jumpman here recently. It's fresh on my mind. So I'll be ready to give this a whirl, Boater.
Cool. And as always, folks, we appreciate you listening or watching on YouTube. We stream every recording live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming. If you like the show and you want to support us, patreon.com/Amigos Podcast. Gives you access to our Discord, gives you a Christmas card magnet every year, and it gives you, of course, our undying love. I heard a factoid, Aaron, that if you support the show at $1 per episode, $4 a month, that's the same as watching 4,000 hours of our content. So which would you rather do? $4 a month or 4,000 hours of the Amigos?
Is this a good pitch? I'm not sure. I will say someone's been looking through our back catalog. Couple people. Every once in a while we get questions about it, and so I've been getting questions about episodes we filmed like 8 years ago. I'm like, I have no idea. So I've been going back and trying to catch up.
I get that a lot with the Macintosh emulation one-click thing that's from like 2020. They're like, it's only working in black and white. I don't know what to do.
You need to update that. That thing's a big time player, man.
Yeah.
But we appreciate everyone. Hey, go back through the catalog. I'll answer any question I can, and so will Boater the Brent. We're ready to go.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you next week. And until then,
adios.
Amigos is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Patreon supporters help choose the games we play, receive exclusive magnets, and get access to the Amigos Retro Gaming Discord server. Visit patreon.com/Amigos Podcast if you'd like to support the show and join our community.